Hi, friends. I want to introduce you to Jerry Marti. He is the guest of my next episode. It's a great episode. He is a pilot. I'm actually sitting in his hangar, and this is Kevin Bosley's simulator. Get a little bit of work on my instrument stuff. Let me just show you around. He talked to me about printing. So his company printed all the stuff that you see in here. You see the awesome stuff. There's Jerry's citation. The runway. Anyway, I've known Jerry for quite a while. He is a great American. He is Oklahoma University cowboy. Not much interested in being a Sooner, as you will soon find out. And I thank you very much for listening. I hope you really enjoy this episode, and safe flying. We're cleared for takeoff.
Well, I know how busy you are. I can't believe you were willing to come spend some time with me. Thank you.
Are you kidding me? What a treat. I always enjoy the time with you.
Well, I don't know about that, but so everybody, I'm here with Jerry Marti, and the Marti family is very famous in our Barton County, Missouri, and you are like the ultimate businessman, but we have a lot in common.
Yes, we do. We are entrepreneurs.
Well, we're both pilots, and we both like orange. Orange is my favorite color.
You know, Chris, when I was with McDonald's, red and yellow were my favorite colors. But now that I'm out of McDonald's, I've decided that I like orange better than red and yellow combined.
Very good. So there's our joke right out of the gate. I appreciate it very much. Well, so for me, it's sunrise, it's sunset, it's hot metal. You know, it's just orange is, it's a great color. So I've been a friend of yours for 30 years now, plus.
Ever since you moved to the community and we were neighbors.
Right, yeah. And I pull through the drive-thru at McDonald's and see you every few days, and we were both a lot younger.
Yes, we were. And, man, I'm just so thankful that you and Kelly chose to call Lamar and Barton County home, and what a blessing you've been to this community.
Well, you know, I don't know about that, but, man, talk about a really cool place to call home. And, you know, people like you really make this place amazing. So our airport and what you've done out there, how did you decide to do? So you built hangars, you built taxiways, you really own the gas. I mean, that's an awful lot of stuff to have at an airport for a person who's not like you don't make a living as an aviator.
That's correct. Yeah, it's amazing what we get ourselves into. The Lamar Airport had limited hangar space for years, and I had bought an airplane that would not fit in my current hangar that I had rented from the airport.
Now, was that the Saratoga or the Malibu?
So when I went from the Saratoga, actually, I had a 172, and
Okay.
when I got the Saratoga, it would not fit in the existing city hangar because it wasn't exactly a level in and out, and I couldn't pull the airplane in and out. And so there was a vacant hangar that a bank owned that they had repossessed. And so anyway, I went to them and said, hey, can I rent this hangar month to month till you find a buyer? And they said, well, we'd rather you buy it. And I made them an offer, and much to my surprise, they took it. And so then I had a place for a Piper Saratoga. And then I graduated from a Saratoga to a Malibu Mirage, and now I'm flying something that's even faster than that.
Oh, I know. As a citation, it's incredible. Yeah. So how did you become an aviator? How did that start?
Sure. So I started flying at age 17.
Now, Fleeter, was he a pilot?
No. Fun factoid.
So just quickly, Fleeter is your dad?
Yes.
Okay.
So my dad started flying when I was a little guy. Ran out of money. Then I started flying when I was a junior in high school.
And how did you finance that?
So I was involved in an automobile accident as a passenger, and I got some money from that automobile accident for my pain and suffering. Fortunately, I only sustained head injuries, so only. You know, they did some X-rays of the head and they found nothing. So
wow.
But so I took that money, got my pilot's license. Then my dad started flying again, bought an airplane, a Cessna Cardinal,
Wow, those are rare nowadays.
They are. And in fact, I had a college friend just last week send me a picture. My parents' old Cardinal is for sale in California as we sit here and speak.
Oh, are you making a deal?
No, but I must admit I do think about it. But while my dad was getting his training, he suffered a heart attack. And back in those days, that's pretty much a disqualifying event. You're never going to get your physical after that. Today, with technology and medicines and all kinds of things, you can still kind of jump through those hoops. So that would have been probably about 1979.
Okay.
So here my dad has an airplane. He has a son who has a pilot's license, and he is not going to just turn the family airplane keys over to his boy. And so my mom started flying, and she got her license.
I did not know that.
So even though my dad never got a license, he did know how to fly.
Sure.
And my parents would fly together. And a couple of my favorite stories with my mom, she was the ultimate of fair weather flyer. And she was flying up by Columbia, Missouri one day on a day. Fortunately for us today here in Barton County, it is a beautiful, sunshiny day. Well, she was flying in Columbia, and out of nowhere it started raining.
While they were flying.
And she was in contact with the Columbia Tower, and she said, "It's raining." And the tower guy with a sense of humor came back and said, "Does your plane leak?" Another fun story, my mom was flying to come see me in Stillwater, Oklahoma, where I was going to school, hence my desire for orange.
Of course.
And
that is the Sooners.
You're close.
Oh,
yeah.
Daggum, I always forget.
Yeah, I'd sooner be dead than red. But she was flying down to see me in Stillwater, and again, this is back in the days prior to GPS with all the technology we have today, and she got lost, or she thought she did. So,
man.
Of course,
now,
being a woman, she stopped and asked directions.
Oh,
she
really?
landed, got directions, and come to find out she was 4 miles off course.
Oh, my. And so she didn't get her instruments?
No.
Okay, all right. Did she fly a lot after you started flying?
They did. My parents would fly quite a bit together.
Okay.
And then after I got out of college, my parents sold the airplane.
Oh, man.
And I was working for them.
Right, and didn't you get a degree in aviation?
I did. I
Yeah.
got a degree in aviation and marketing.
Were you wanting to be a commercial pilot?
I did. Initially, when I went to college, wanted to be an airline pilot. God made it clear to me that that's not what he wanted me to do. So then I thought I'd be a corporate pilot, and a good friend of mine convinced me that wasn't what I ought to be doing. And at the time, being a marketing major, they talked about McDonald's all the time, and that's what led me down the path of becoming a McDonald's franchisee.
So in school, when you were studying marketing, McDonald's was a big model.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Back in the early 80s, every single marketing class was talking about McDonald's.
Well, yeah, they were a juggernaut, weren't they?
They were,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. Well, I have a little tie there with my Uncle Jimmy, who you knew.
Yes.
And so he was a CEO of McDonald's Corporation at one point, died fairly young while he was
Yes.
still in the position. But he was a remarkable guy. Yeah, you know, he started like as a temporary accountant, I think, during tax season, and then pretty soon Ray Kroc liked him, and then he moved up.
I still remember the morning he passed away because I was in Orlando for a
Oh, you were at
McDonald's
the thing?
convention.
Oh, my.
And I remember you called me early hour morning and said, "Hey, just want you to know that my Uncle Jimmy died."
Right, yeah, and they were at that convention. He was
Yes.
supposed to speak that day.
Yes.
Yeah, it sure devastated my Aunt Joanne. You know, she's still going.
Good.
She's still in Chicago, and yeah, it's and still, you know, still a McDonald family, of course.
Yes.
And so you owned 3 McDonald's at one time, right?
I did. And I was in McDonald's for a little over 22 years as a franchisee.
Okay.
And, you know, being in a farming community, we understand farm concepts. And with McDonald's, it's not like the family farm. You can't pass it down to the next generation. And
They can't inherit it.
No, because
I didn't know
McDonald's
that.
wants operators. They don't want absentee owners. And so when my children became adults and none of them expressed an interest, at that point, it just became a matter of when am I going to sell my McDonald's, not if.
Okay.
And so that's what prompted me. I looked at the landscape of what was going on, and I wanted to go do something else while I was still young enough to do so.
So how old were you when you sold?
So I was 53 years old when I sold McDonald's.
Wow. And you had so much ahead of you.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
And so how many businesses do you own now? Do you even know?
Well, I'd have to think about it.
It's a bunch.
And you know, I mean, not everything makes money. Like you already referenced the airport. Okay, the
Oh,
airport.
yeah. No, you can't make money on that.
You know,
deal.
the airport, it's because it's a passion.
Right.
And that's how we became involved out there.
Well, and thankfully you did, because we have like state-of-the-art FBO and beautiful hangars, and it's not even a manned FBO, but it's better than most places that have a manned FBO.
Yeah. You know what a blessing it is to fly. And when you
course.
go into non-towered or even even worse than that, unattended airports like what we have, you know, it's very deficient usually in services.
Well, if you were to stop here, you would just think the attendant was mowing the yard or something, because
Yeah.
it looks like it's manned.
Yeah.
And why is it not?
Just the traffic. It just doesn't justify itself to...
So there's a number that you have to.
Yeah, so
reach.
most in this airport's the same, municipal owned, and some cities will make a commitment to man the airport even though it doesn't pay for itself.
Mm-hmm.
And you referenced earlier that I'm in the fuel business. Well, years ago, I had went to one of the city administrators and I was begging them, would you please put in a bigger fuel tank? Because we'd run out of fuel. They had a 900-gallon fuel tank.
Oh, man. I bet you did run out.
We did. We ran out of fuel often. And I said, would you please put in a bigger tank? And the superintendent at the time said, you know, Jerry, why don't you just put in the fuel and we'll pull ours out and we will not go into competition against you. And because I wanted to have fuel available whenever we needed it, that's what I did.
And that particular job has been one of the bigger headaches of your life, isn't it?
It really has. We bought a lemon. We have a system that's a lemon, and we've tried to upgrade it, and we have upgraded it, but it's still a
Yeah, because I
point
get
of
to see more
frustration.
of you trying to fill my plane up than almost anywhere else.
Right.
Hey, Jerry.
Hey, Jerry, the fuel pump's not working.
I'll be right there.
Yes. But again, it's just a blessing to have an airport, because we do have a nice airport, and we both like to fly, and I'm glad that we've got an airport that we can get in and out of.
So when you graduated from college, did you have your commercials and multi and everything?
So
you need to do it?
when I graduated college, I did have my commercial, obviously instrument, as well as instructor's rating.
Okay, so you're a CFI.
Yes.
Were you a CFII?
I am now, but I wasn't
yeah.
when I graduated.
Okay. Did you do that to teach people how to fly instruments?
I did it mostly just for my own benefit of becoming a better pilot, trying to be a safer pilot, knowing that if I could instruct others and get ourselves out of messes, that was probably going to make me a better pilot. And then...
But you don't take students, do you?
No, I don't. I've taught a handful of friends and our daughters, but you know, the gentleman that taught us to fly, Tom Richards, made such an impact on my life, and
What a man.
He loves to teach
And is incredible at it.
and incredible at it. I don't love teaching, but he sure does. And
That man can stay so calm. I think you could turn a plane that shouldn't be turned upside down, and he would just say, you need to
level the wings.
Yeah.
You know, another thing, and okay, so I'm going to ask you a question. Did he ever tell you when you were flight training, Chris, when you take somebody for a ride, you do not need to do anything to make it exciting for them? Did he ever tell you that?
I don't remember that.
So that's probably the difference, because you learned as an adult and I learned as a 17-year-old.
Sure, 17-year-old wants to squeal the tires.
And exactly. And so one of the challenges he gave me was, he said, don't ever take somebody up and try to make it exciting for them. Whenever you take somebody flying, you need to try to make it the most boring flight you have ever been on. And I actually took that to heart. And I've talked with a lot of my classmates now. I mean, here we are in our 60s. And it's like, what did your parents say when I was taking you flying? And most of them's response is, I don't know that we ever told our parents. But, when I think back to that, one of my other questions is, what were you thinking? getting in an airplane with me when I'm 17 years old. And I think part of what it was when I went up, I did try to make it as boring as possible for me, which made it exciting for them.
Sure.
And they'd come back and tell their friends, oh man, Jerry took me flying, and it was such a good time. And so when I would invite others, it just kept building.
More, yeah.
And I probably gave, between the classes ahead of me and behind me, over 100 people flying when I was in high school.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man. What was your first plane that you bought?
First plane that I bought was a Piper Cheyenne II.
I don't even know what that is.
Well, it's a twin-engine turboprop.
Oh, no kidding.
So I was flying as a McDonald's operator. I was flying a 172 that I was renting, and my flights seemed like they were getting further and further apart. And I remember I flew, it was, again, a beautiful day like today, flew to Lawrence, Kansas and back. I didn't do anything that scared me or caused me concern, but I could tell I wasn't sharp. And I made a vow to myself, I am not flying again until I buy an airplane. And if I would have known then that it was going to be 11 years and 6 months before I bought an airplane, I would have never made that vow to myself.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, so I laid out of flying for 11 years.
I would have never guessed that.
And so then when I finally decided to buy an airplane, I was looking at twin-engine airplanes. That's when I got my multi-engine rating. And, I was looking at like a Cessna 421 or something like that. And one of my friends said, well, you can't get that in and out of the Lamar Airport. And he said,
it requires more runway, does it?
It did. And at the time, we only had 2,900 feet.
Oh, okay. We had 03 and 21. We didn't have the...
Correct.
Okay.
And he said, if you want a twin-engine airplane, you need a turbine. I said, well, they're even bigger than a Cessna 421. He said, yeah, but they don't take as much runway.
Okay.
And so that's what I bought, and thoroughly enjoyed the airplane. But I jokingly tell people back then, I only thought I made enough money to fly a twin-engine turbine because the maintenance just ate me up.
What was the consumption, the fuel consumption? Do you remember?
Oh, I really don't.
Okay.
Yeah, just had that for a couple of years and then sold it. Then I actually backtracked all the way to a 172, and then the progression from the 172 to the Saratoga, the Mirage, and then...
And what has been your favorite?
The one I'm flying today.
The Citation.
Absolutely.
You had two, right? And you sold one?
Actually, I've had a total of 5.
You're kidding
Not
me.
at one time.
Right.
But I'm now on my 5th one. It is such a fun airplane to fly. And again, flashback to when I'm 17 and people say, oh, if you ever get to fly a jet, it's like, oh yeah, like I'm ever going to fly a jet. I'm sitting there thinking, will I ever be able to buy a 172? But they said, if you ever fly a jet, it will be the easiest airplane you've ever flown.
Is that true?
And I thought, you bunch of liars. There is no way. And they were absolutely true. It is the easiest airplane I've ever flown.
Wow.
Huh. And I would have never guessed it.
And the one that you have now, what model is it?
So it is a Cessna Citation M2.
M2,
As
okay.
in Mike 2. Just a delight of an airplane to fly.
And so you have a smaller one. Do you still have your Bonanza?
We do.
Okay.
We have a Bonanza V-tail, 1959 model.
It's beautiful, though. It's a really nice looking plane.
It really is. And my son-in-law flies, Cale.
Yep.
And he is techie. And so the 1959 Beach Bonanza actually has better avionics than my jet does.
You're kidding.
I am not. It has a feature in it called Safe Flight. So if I'm up flying with somebody and God calls me home with a heart attack and they don't think it's their turn to go, they reach up and they push a button and the airplane will identify the closest suitable airport and go land.
The 59
The
Bonanza has it,
1959 Bonanza has that technology.
and your jet doesn't.
And it, correct. How wild is that?
That is wild.
Not everything's great with the Bonanza because a few years back I was involved in an aviation-related accident in the Bonanza.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I fell off the wing and tore my rotator cuff.
Oh. Now, did you get in trouble with the FAA for that one?
No.
Okay. So that Safe Flight, is that a Garmin product?
It is.
Oh, and have you tested it?
I have not.
Oh man, I would have to test it. That sounds unreal for a
yeah.
59.
Yeah. To have that
Wow.
technology available is just so impressive.
All right, man. And so, whenever you take your citation, what kind of fuel consumption does that thing have, or do you know how many gallons an hour of jet fuel it uses?
Yeah, so I mean, for spitballing purposes, just call it a 110 gallons an hour.
Man.
That's a long way from 18 or 19 gallons an hour, isn't it?
And I would say that the twin sounds cheap now.
Yeah, it does.
Oh man,
It does. But this has been interesting to me because I have typically flown anywhere from 150 to 175 hours a year in, year out. And now that I've flying an M2, the hours flown per year has actually increased.
Wow.
I'm now flying 220 to 230 hours a year.
But you're flying so much faster.
I'm flying faster. And the biggest reason is, inevitably, if I'm going with you, even in your airplane and you're IFR certified, and I say, hey, can we go to Denver? My guess is you say something effective, absolutely, weather permitting.
Right.
Well, I've just dropped the last two words out of that sentence. Yes, we
Right.
can go.
Yeah.
Now, we may have to move our departure time up or back, a few hours, but in all likelihood, we're going.
Yeah. So if the weather's not on the ground at the airport, then it's not a problem.
Right, and weather blows in and weather blows out. One of the last trips I made in my Mirage, went to Nashville in the winter, and when it was time to come home, I was on the ground for 3 more days
Yep.
because of icing.
So I've had that happen in Cincinnati, and I've had to spend several nights in the FBO for no more years than I've been flying. I bet I've spent half a dozen nights in FBOs waiting for.
Likewise.
Yeah.
Yeah, and with this, I mean, just like yesterday morning, I was going to just down by New Orleans, and I'm looking at the weather, and I'm thinking, I'm probably going to have to push my departure back an hour or two. Turned out I didn't, but as I was looking at weather initially, I thought, well, I'm going to have to delay a couple hours, but I am going to get to go. But if I'm flying a piston aircraft,
Right.
I'm probably not going that day because of the line of storms where this way we got to go over them.
I'll be dang. Yeah, that's cool.
The reason that I get to fly as many hours as I do.
Well, as a private pilot with a single engine, the rule is if you have time to spare, go by air.
Yep.
And it is because of weather.
Absolutely.
And I have been in a couple of just more bouncy than I was comfortable situations, and that's made me much more wary of where I see the storms on ForeFlight.
Yes.
Just because the green stops there doesn't mean the weather does.
Right. Other thing, too, for your passengers,
Right.
while you might be comfortable, doesn't mean they would be.
Yeah, you bounce a passenger off the roof a couple times, and
They may not ride with you again.
not without handcuffs.
Exactly.
So, do you have any harrowing aviation stories?
Well, it's interesting you talk about that. One time I was flying back from Stillwater, Oklahoma.
During college, then?
During college. And I had a cousin who was going to college there. He was gone for the weekend, and his wife and little girl, they were from Joplin. They were riding back with me. And about halfway between Tulsa and Joplin, I smelled smoke in the cockpit. It was a solid IFR day. And, I still remember when I called air traffic control and said, hey, I smell smoke in the cockpit. First words he came back with, how many souls on board?
Wow.
And anyway, there was 3 of us and came in.
Now, were you in the 172 your dad owned, or were you?
I was actually in the Cardinal.
Okay, in the Cardinal.
In
Okay.
the Cessna Cardinal. And anyway, we made an uneventful landing. They had the fire trucks waiting for us, but we broke out of the clouds. The airport was there. I remember we broke out. It was right at dusk. It was a low IFR. I mean, it's really the kind of days we like flying. It wasn't bouncy. It was smooth. But, just a rainy, dreary day. We break out of the clouds, and I said, the field. I said, no, the airport, the field. But anyway, she flew with me again later.
And what was the cause of the smoke?
Alternator burned up.
Okay. So the plane didn't catch fire.
No.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet that would get your heart racing.
Yeah. But that's, praise God, that's as close to an emergency as I've had.
Do you know my story of my first time in the clouds?
No.
I was going to fly to New Mexico, And I tried to get fuel. The pumps weren't working. I said, well, you know what? I have enough to get to Alva and plenty to get there. And so I'll land in Alva. And Alva's a pretty much straight on between here in Las Vegas, New Mexico, where my folks picked me up. So I get up, and we get above the clouds somewhere, let's say 50 miles west of Joplin. And I'm above a layer of clouds, but I think, well, it's really not that big a deal. And I'm in Cody's plane. He's got four tanks, 84 gallons total. And so I'm getting close enough to Alva, and I'm about a 70-hour pilot, so I'm really fresh. And it's just me and Kelly. And so I'm going to go ahead and descend into Alva, and I'm on flight following. And I get in the clouds, and I mean, I'm not in the clouds for more than 30 seconds before I don't know what's going on. So I just get back out, and I'm over the tops of the clouds. And I call air traffic control, say, hey, I'm not going to stop at Alva. I'm going to be going to Elk City, or wherever the next airport in line was. Well, the clouds were still there, and I move it to the next one, and engine dies. So I switch tanks. And Kelly's reading her book. She's acting calm, And then the engine dies. I switch tanks. And so I'm on my third tank, and I say, well, hon, we're starting to get into a little bit of a situation. She goes, yeah, I know. And she just keeps reading her book. She's really cool about it, And then there's a B-52 that gets on the air. He said, hey, this is B-52. It's a legacy flight of some sort going across the country, and I'm headed to Guyman, Oklahoma now. And he's coming into Guyman, and the air traffic control says, are you really a B-52? And they're visiting, and so he's like, that's pretty cool, and engine dies. So I have whatever's left in the last tip tank. And so I say, air traffic control, this is 8798 Whiskey, and I need to descend through the clouds to get to Guyman. He says, are you IFR, an IFR certified plane? I said, no, sir, I'm not IFR, but the plane is IFR. He said, well, you can't go through the clouds. I said, well, I'm going to go through the clouds with my motor running or my motor off, but I'm having to go through the clouds. He says, well, I can't recommend that. And I said, well, I don't have a choice. And he said, do you want to declare an emergency? I says, no, sir, I do not. And so I'm flying, and I kid you not, Jerry, we get 3 miles from Guyman, and it is like a knife has cut the clouds. And there's the airport.
Oh, praise the Lord.
I know, it was just an answer to prayer, right? And so I just go on left base, and I'm going in, and the B-52 said, hey, 8798 Whiskey, you think you can go around one time? And I said, sir, because he's coming in fast, 4 engines. I said, sir, I don't think I can, but I will land at the numbers and get off as fast as I can. So I landed, and I got off, and he came in behind me. He was able to make it happen. It held 84 gallons on that plane. They put 77 gallons on.
Wow.
And so there's like probably a gallon in each tank, maybe a gallon and a half that couldn't be used.
Okay.
So I probably, if I would have gone around, I would have been in the grass.
Wow.
And God takes care of children and idiots, and I was too old for the child part of it.
Well, maybe I tell folks, we know this one thing, I'm not going to die young because of my stupidity. Now, it may still kill me, but I'm not going to die young because of it.
What a harrowing lesson. And one that, I hope if you're a young pilot or an aspiring pilot, I hope it's one you can take to heart, because you just don't know what when you run out of gas in your truck, you let it roll.
Yeah.
Right? You run out of gas in your plane, and now you have a problem.
Yes, for sure. What they tell us, we got to have 30 minutes of fuel on board. If I get under an hour, I'm starting to get really nervous.
Yeah. And I don't mind landing to pee, so I'm a much more likely to take it easy and land much more often now.
For sure.
Yeah. So you have 2 daughters that fly.
Yes.
And does your wife fly?
Hey, all. Listen, we've got a problem happening in America. I guess there's lots of problems happening in America. But I don't know if you've heard, but they're doing away with the cavalry horses in the United States Army. Guys, listen, they've already changed the names of our bases. They've already torn down a lot of statues. Well, this is heritage. And if you're a farrier, having people interested in horses, it only helps all of them. But if you're an American, seeing the history that comes with the United States cavalry, anyway, it's a tragedy, it's a travesty. I'm sorry to see it happening. If you know somebody important, I should say, if you know somebody with some power, that's better. If you know somebody that can do something about it, give them a call, write them a letter, and say, let's stop this. So anyway, thanks for watching.
She does not.
Does she know how to land?
She does not.
So she hasn't taken the spouse.
She's done it a time or two, but as we've graduated airplanes, she's not kept up with the airplanes now. Again, with the M2 being one of the easier airplanes, truly it is to land because wind doesn't affect you as much.
Okay.
The idea of ballooning isn't as big a deal, again, because you're a little heavier.
Yeah, but you're a champion lander, right? You've won some awards for landing on lines. Or what was that contest about?
Okay, so just remember, it's better to be a has-been than a never was, right?
Okay.
So when I went to college and I went to Oklahoma State, it was because...
And real quick, that's the Sooners? Sorry, I couldn't resist.
Hello, can you hear me now?
I couldn't. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's fine. So they are a nationally recognized university when it comes to flight teams. There are flight competitions in college. It's part of the National Intercollegiate Flying Association. And
Okay, so there's like a lot of competitions.
250 schools
Wow.
make up the NIFA. And our region, Region 6, happens to be in the same region as the U.S. Air Force Academy.
Oh, no kidding.
Not to cause you any alarm, but we constantly beat them in our regional competitions.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was fun. But I was blessed with an unbelievable instructor. Started off with Tom Richards, who we've already talked about, who was a fabulous instructor. And then when I got to college and was on the flight team coach or instructor had the top collegiate pilot in the nation 9 years in a row.
Oh, man. So he was like a
He
Lamar
knew how to
football
do
coach.
it. Yeah, exactly. He knew how to teach. I remember the very first time I ever went flying with him, we get in, he says, do you have a billfold? And I said, yeah. He says, where is it? I said, well, it's in my back pocket. He says, well, take it out. He said, I don't want anything between your bottom and the seat that you're sitting in. I want you to be able to feel the airplane. I didn't even know how to feel the airplane. I mean, that's
Right.
how clueless I was. And we get in and we take off and we're climbing out and he covers up the airspeed indicator. And he says,
First time.
First time.
Wow.
He says, how fast are you going? Well, how do I know? You covered up the airspeed indicator. And he says, at this pitch, at this power setting, you're going to be going 57 mile an hour. And he uncorks it, and sure enough, we're going 57 mile an hour. And so he taught us to fly based upon power setting and pitch on wherever your nose was to the horizon. And it doesn't matter if you're set 4 inches taller in the cockpit than I do. It's what
Right.
picture
It's
you
my
see.
spot. Right.
What picture do I see? And he taught us another little trick, and I think this is what really set us apart when we go to other competitions. When you're learning to fly at Lamar on runway 3 and 21, most of the time you're going to turn base to final over. You don't like what I'm saying?
I'm sorry to digress here. I have grandbabies. Grandbabies do not respect closing the door like they should, and so we fight flies. Have you ever?
No, I don't have that. I thought you were going to shoot me because you didn't like what I was coming up with.
Well, and if I did, it wouldn't hurt. But there was a fly on my boot, and I was just about to get him. So,
Anyway, so,
Okay. All right, so you're flying?
You're flying in Lamar, and you're going to turn base to final over the silo because that's where you always turn
Right.
base to final is over that red silo out there. Well, guess what? When you go to the Air Force Academy and you're landing at the Air Force Base, they don't have a silo where you turn base to final. And so what he did was he put a piece of black electrical tape on the strut. And whenever we were flying, he would say, put that electrical tape on the center line of the runway when you're on downwind.
Okay.
So that you're exactly the same distance away on downwind every single time. And it doesn't matter if the runway is 60 feet wide or 300 feet wide. If you put the tape on the center line of the runway, then you know you're the exact same distance away from the airplane or runway.
Runway. Yep.
And so then when you get ready to turn base, he says you're always going to turn base when you're 45 degrees. And that's how we had consistent patterns. And he said, when you come into land, on your first landing, if you get a dip, a downdraft, 300 feet before landing, then on the next landing, you've got to factor that in, that it's still going to be there. Because you know how thermals work if you're flying over a freshly plowed field, or you're flying over a building with a white roof or whatever, you get these thermals. And so he taught us those little things like that. You know, he said the reason he didn't want a billfold in your backside was, he said, the tail of the airplane is going to tell you first what is happening. And if the tail starts to rise, then you're going to feel a little bit light in the seat, and that means you're starting to descend. And if the tail starts to sink, you're going to feel just a little heavier in your seat, and that means you're going to climb just a little bit. And he was after a real steady, nice descent.
How cool.
And the other thing he taught us was anything less than perfection has got room for improvement. Did you get him? He just shot a fly, or he attempted to.
I think I did, but I don't see him. One thing, this shoots salt, and a lot of times it damages them but doesn't kill them.
Okay. So that's was the tricks of the trade and how he drilled into us. And I still remember that first night of our competition, or the awards night of our competition, and I was extremely disappointed in my performance.
But you won.
But I won. And I remember thinking that night when they announced that I won, and I thought, if I got first place, then the rest of you all are really pitiful pilots, because I did not do my best. I know I didn't do my best. And as I thought about it retrospectively, this was my margin of error. Anything less than perfection, you got room for improvement. Well, I knew I didn't fly a perfect flight.
Right.
And for the rest of them, I think their margin of error was, if you don't land within 300 feet, you're automatically disqualified. And so the goal was, don't get disqualified.
Right.
Well, that wasn't what he was teaching.
What is the contest like? Does another pilot go up with you, and then, okay?
So there's several different categories or competitions, much like going to a track meet. So the ones that are the most noteworthy are the ones with the spot landings, where the idea is to land on a line painted on the runway.
Okay.
And so they have a power on division, where once you reduce power on downwind, you can keep reducing power. Once you take it out, you can't put it back in. Then the other one is, once you get opposite your point of touchdown, power off, you pull it to idle. If you ever put any kind of power back in, that's a pretty significant point deduction.
Sure.
Or penalty points. And so every foot you land away from the line is a penalty point. And I think the competition I won the first time, I had 11 total penalty points in 2 landings.
Wow.
But
so you were on the numbers.
No, I was 11 feet off in 2 landings. And
does everybody fly the same plane?
No, it's whatever airplane the school wants you to bring.
Okay, so one guy might be in a Piper, one guy might be in a Cessna. Okay.
Yep. And again, we flew the slowest, dirtiest airplane there.
Right.
No wheel pants, because he wanted as much drag as possible. He wanted you landing as slow as possible, which helped you hit the numbers.
Well, I don't know if the Saratoga was like this, but my plane's pretty heavy. And when I go power off, it down
drops
fast.
It's like a rock. Absolutely.
Yep.
And this one, it was a Cessna 150, not a 152, because it was slower. And here I am, however many years removed from college, that exact airplane is the one the school still uses in flying competitions. It's been painted. Obviously, the engine's been worked on, but the exact same airplane. And it wasn't a new airplane when I was there.
I'll be dang.
Yeah.
Well, it's got some history.
Yeah. And then another competition that they do where somebody does fly with you is they would have you go out and fly across country. Again, prior to GPS and all this stuff, they'd give you the latitude and longitude, lock you in a room, say, here's your flight path, how much fuel you're going to burn, what's your heading going to be, how much is it going to take you to fly each leg, and then somebody would actually go with you and you go do it. And they, if you said I was going to fly a heading of 090, if at any point, like let's say you get there too fast and you think, well, I'm just going to S-turn my way. If you deviate more than, I think, 10 degrees off of your projected heading, that's a deduct. If you say, well, I'm going to I'm going to slow down by climbing or speed up by descending. If you deviate more than 200 feet, that's a delta, and they're going to ding you for that. If you set them, you fill up before you fly, and you come back and you say, it's going to take me 7 gallons to do this. If you take 6.9, you're golden. If you take 7.1, that's a penalty because that means you ran out.
Right.
So again, the whole premise of the competition is safety.
Oh, it makes better pilots doing that.
Absolutely.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so did you win the national title or?
I did.
Man, how cool is that?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, that's something.
It's a testament to the instructor.
Did your daughters go to college for aviation?
No, they did not.
So they didn't get to do any competition?
No.
All right. Well, have you thought about setting up a competition, Lamar?
No, I never have.
No, doesn't sound good.
No. But a fun story with Tom Richards. Again, he's been a lifelong instructor. I came back. He helped me get my double I and different training along the way. But we've just had a ton of fun together. We've got to go on trips together. But one day we were out flying, and I think we were over the City Lake, which is, for those that aren't familiar with the Lamar Airport, it's about 3 or 4 miles from the airport, and he pulls an engine, which is what we do commonly in training. And he says, where are you going to land? And I said, well, I'm going to land at the airport. And he said, okay. And I said, which runway do you want me to land on? And he said, well, why don't you land on runway 21? Okay. Which stripe do you want me to land on? He said, if it's anybody else, I thought they were being cocky with me. And he said, oh, land on the 3rd stripe. Is that the beginning of the 3rd stripe or the end of the 3rd stripe? But again, it goes back to the training of what are you aiming for?
And did you hit your target?
I did.
Oh, how cool.
Yeah, we've just had so much fun together.
Man. Well, landing is one of the hardest things I've learned to do. It was daunting. And I learned, I love to learn. But for some reason, landing was just difficult.
Yes.
And if I'm ever with another pilot, what I'm trying to do is stick my landings, and inevitably those are my worst ones.
Right. So
I would be, which runway? And he'd say 2-1. I said, okay, we'll try.
We'll try.
Another fly there, Jerry, to see if, he's a...
Another fun story I'll tell of myself. My wife and I know you like to go to Stearman Field out by Wichita, and we do too. And we're flying out there one evening with some friends, and when I was flying the 172, I always flew from the right seat, being an instructor. I mean, that's what my hero did, Tom Richards. Whenever you flew, he was always in the right seat, even if he was PIC. So I started doing the same thing just so for instructing purposes. And
did you get more comfortable in that seat?
Oh, absolutely. Okay. I mean, to where I did feel more comfortable in the right seat. Anyway, we're going out to eat with some friends, and this particular night, I get in the left seat. And my wife says, what are you doing? I said, well, I don't know. I just feel like flying from the left seat. And she said, I don't know that I've ever flown with you and you being in the left seat. And I said, prepare to be impressed. Oops. And we go over and we land at Stearman. And Chris, it was horrid. I mean, I bounced 2 or 3 times. And we get out and my wife kind of pokes me and says, I'm not impressed.
Well, I've flown Cody's plane a bunch right seat because I was trying to get used to it. And you wouldn't think moving over 3 feet, you wouldn't think it would make that much difference. But my goodness gracious, it is a different world from the other seat.
It is, without a doubt, which reminds me of another story. So my daughter Jennifer, who is a pilot, she announces to me, she says, Dad, I'd like to start working on my instructor's rating. So again, pilot sits in the left seat, instructor's in the right seat. So now for the first time ever, she's going to fly from the right seat.
And you're in the left?
And I'm in the left seat. And to your point, you wouldn't think moving 3 feet is that big a deal. However, everything you've learned to do with your left hand when you're in the left seat, you now do with your right hand.
Yes.
And everything you have been doing with your right hand, you now do with your left hand.
But even just taxiing, just the look of the center line is...
So we're flying down to a fly-in breakfast, and I've got friends at this breakfast, and she's coming in to land, very first time she's ever made a landing from the right seat, and she comes in, and it is horrible. And I never take control, but I get really close to taking control of the airplane. And I mean, the instant she got it under control, she bust out laughing. And I said, "What is so funny?" And she says, "Because we're taxiing up, and you're getting out of the pilot seat."
And then you can say, "Oh no, it wasn't me." Right?
Yeah. It wasn't me. It was her. Yeah, sure, Jerry. We believe you.
Well, I went to go fly a 210 because we were really interested in the Cessna 210, and this guy up Moberly or Waverly, I can't remember, but anyway, he was up north. He said, "Well, you can come fly with me and mine." And so him and his mechanic and the other people at the airport were waiting for me, and I came in with my Lance, and I did everything but land it sideways. And so the mechanic wouldn't even talk to me. He just walked away, and this guy didn't let me touch the controls. And I was like, well. But the 210 was kind of a cool plane, but I'm really wanting a 207. And so if I do sell my Lance, that's what I want to get. And you've never seen one, right?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, and so it's like a 206 with 30 or 40 inches longer.
Is it a tail dragger?
No.
Okay.
It is it is just like the 206 is welded gear. And so the retractable gear on an older airplane, that really hurts your insurance, or at least at my level. And so it'll have welded gear, and it's just a lot more room than a 206.
Okay.
So it's kind of like the Lance or the Saratoga, only a little bit bigger payload,
Mm-hmm.
and a high wing and a turbo. So I'm supposed to fly to Colorado next week, but I still have my Lance, so I will fly up to Cheyenne and then through the passes,
Okay.
and then get into Meeker on the western slope. Did you ever fly your Saratoga to Colorado?
No.
See, for you,
Or if I did, I only went as far as Denver.
okay, all right. Well, I really want to fly over Denver, but the ceiling on my plane is 15,000, and so I can't get over those safely. And
Yeah.
so, but it's a small problem in the
Right.
in the world of problems.
Yeah, it sure beats driving, right?
Well, let's move on to another topic. So, you are a former golf course owner. Were you ever an aspiring golf star?
Negative.
No?
I enjoy the game tremendously. However, years and years ago, I would have given up completely had it not been for our son.
Right, Jeremy. Golfer.
He enjoys golfing tremendously, and so when the golf course was going to fall on hard times a little over 6 years ago, we were fortunate enough we were able to acquire it and keep it alive for the community.
And he works out there like 80 hours a week, doesn't he?
He enjoys working.
I mean, you can't go by without seeing him out there on a mower or on a with a rake. He's constant out there.
He is. He thoroughly enjoys working, and so we renamed the golf course Jeremy's Creek after him, and he does. He enjoys working. I think he enjoys working even more than he enjoys playing golf.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Well, what a cool thing, huh?
Yeah, and we've had to encourage him. Look, it's named after you. So being the face of the franchise, why don't you work of a morning and try to play golf of an afternoon? And so unless he feels like he's just really behind, he'll do that.
And so you also have a printing business?
We do.
And what do you print?
Pretty much if it's flat, we can print on it.
Okay, so not like a hardcover book, but like a poster or a billboard.
Right. I mean, we can do books, but if you want perfect bound, and I think your book is perfect bound, meaning it's got
a paperback.
That we don't do that. We have to farm that out.
Well, my textbook's hardcover.
Yeah.
And then my memoirs are all softcover.
Okay.
And are you a reader?
I really don't read that much other than the Bible.
And you read it every day then?
That's my goal, and I'm pretty successful.
And so how many times do you think you've been through the Bible?
Well, I'm no Pat Boone, the old singer, entertainer.
Right.
I was with him at an event a few years back, and he said he had read through the Bible every year for 45 years.
Wow.
So what a testimony.
Man.
And so the last 6 or 7 years, I've read through it at least once per year. Sometimes I'll make it through more than that.
Wow. So you're doing it pretty heavily.
I want the wisdom of God. I really don't care for the wisdom of the world.
Well,
And so that's my goal.
And do you have a Bible reading plan, or do you?
I do.
So you don't go Genesis to Revelation.
No, the one that I've latched onto the last several years is the chronological.
Okay.
Of doing it,
Right.
because otherwise I get lost on what happened when, by who, and what came first. But another thing that I started doing that I've enjoyed, been on this for about 3 years, is a proverb a day as well as a book in Ecclesiastes a day. So that means I get through Ecclesiastes twice a month because there's only 12 chapters.
Right.
And I get through Proverbs once a month since
I
there's
think-
31.
I think that's the plan that Cody's on. I think
And-
he does that in addition to his other reading.
And I like that because, I mean, you get the wisdom of Solomon in the prime of life in Proverbs, and then you get what he's going through at the end of life. And it's, for me, it's a good reminder that, the end of life is coming, and, making sure that hopefully we're living each day and growing in wisdom and stature and knowledge and fear of God.
And do you run a Sunday school class or anything at your church?
We're active in Sunday school, but I'm the substitute teacher, and I don't think our teacher's been gone now for 4 years. He is very faithful.
I know, the students bad with the substitute, or do they?
Well, I don't know. It's been so long since I've taught.
Oh, very cool. And does your wife read the Bible much?
She does.
Okay, awesome.
She's very consistent.
All right. Does your printing company, does it print billboards and posters and everything like that?
Yeah, so we do just a little bit of everything. I mean, it's if you've ever been to, well, you referenced our hangar out at the airport. Pretty much everything inside of our pilot lounge, the printing company did.
Did they print the runway on the?
They did.
Oh, okay. I wonder where you got that.
Yeah, they printed the runway. They printed all the wallpaper.
And the ceiling.
They printed the ceiling.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
well,
so
that's...
if you folks are pilots out there and you haven't been to the Lamar Airport, KLLU, put it on the list, because we really do have a pretty cool pilot lounge.
your pilot lounge and the whole thing is just first class.
Yeah.
It really is nice.
And
the Tom Richards hangar.
Yes. Conference room tables, we built those in our printing shop. So we have a wood shop, we have a metal shop, because we build trade show booths. We run trade shows.
Oh, okay. So it's more than just printing.
Yeah.
How many employees do you have down there?
About 135.
Oh, my goodness. I had no idea.
Yeah, it's a neat little company.
Man, and little.
Well, again, it's all relative, right?
Yeah, I suppose. Wow. So what has been your favorite business?
McDonald's.
So that was enjoyable.
Absolutely. I don't regret my decision of leaving, but I do miss it.
Okay.
I learned so much from McDonald's.
Yeah. Huh. I'm surprised that would be the favorite. For me, it seemed like the franchise model kind of tied people down, but it wasn't that way.
Well, sure. I mean, you could never forget who was the franchisor,
Right.
and who was the franchisee.
Right.
But it was the springboard for everything else that I've been able to accomplish, because it was such a good business. And I mean, I enjoy just business in general. And I don't care what it is. I like learning about other businesses. I look, with great admiration from the Heartland Horseshoeing School and what you've accomplished. And I just remember, and I know I've told you this story, when my neighbor came over and told me he'd sold the farm to you and told me what we were going to do. And I remember thinking, that poor guy is going to starve if he thinks he's going to shoe horses for a living in Barton County, Missouri.
And you were not alone.
And, man, what a blessing you all have been. And the number, I don't know how many students you've run through there in 30 years, but if you're going to starve, you better get started, because you've been doing a really good job for a long time.
Well, I appreciate that. What's your advice to a youngster that wants to be an entrepreneur?
Invest in yourself. Don't expect it to come as easy as you think it's going to come. And don't give up, because we all feel like giving up at some point or another.
Not quitting, that's like some of the most important life advice there is.
Yeah. You can't fail if you don't quit.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if you do quit 100%,
Yeah.
you're going to fail.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're an early riser, aren't you?
I go in spurts.
Well, I texted you one morning, and so usually I get my messages, I get up early and I see my messages, And I think I saw a message from you, and I emailed you back, and you emailed me like at 4:15, and I thought, oh, well, that's a good sign. But you're not always a 4
I'm
o'clock
not
morning.
consistent. My wife is consistent. She is always an early riser. And, there was a phase in my life where I was running a lot, and I would get up early and run because that's the only time I would get it in.
Were you competing? 5Ks, 10Ks?
I ran some races that were a little longer than that.
Oh, yeah, you did some marathons.
I did.
I did not know that about you.
I did. I've run 8 marathons.
No kidding.
They have what they call the major marathons of the world. When I started running, I'm a bucket list kind of guy. I thought, I'm going to run the major marathons of the world. And there were 5 of them. Berlin, Boston, Chicago, London, and New York.
No kidding. You got to run all those?
So I ran all those. I'm in New York.
I thought you had to qualify to run like New York or Boston. Is that not true?
Well, there are other ways of qualifying than what you're thinking of.
Okay, so it's not just you don't have to run a 3-hour marathon.
No. I mean, I couldn't qualify to run Boston if you threw me out of an airplane. I wouldn't go fast enough to qualify for Boston. But if you work through a charity,
okay,
you can run with a charity. And so that's how I got to Boston. Anyway, I've run 4. I'm in New York, ready to run the New York Marathon. And a friend of mine back here in Missouri calls me and says, hey, they just canceled the New York Marathon. And I am in New York ready to run. I said, they did not. He said, yeah, they did. Turn on the news. And sure enough, I turned on the news. Well, it was right after Hurricane Sandy.
Oh.
And Michael Bloomberg was the mayor. New York strong. We're going to run. We're going to run. He gets everybody there. Nah, we're not going to run. I mean, it was brilliant because he brings all that money to New York. And in fairness to them, there was no reason we should have ran the New York Marathon because they were devastated with just with all that was going on. So I get there and I'm thinking, this was my last one. I'm not going to get it done. I've had enough. Well, not only did they cancel the New York Marathon for the last major, but they added another one that same week, and it was Tokyo.
Oh, nice.
So I would have been about 50 when that happened. And I've got a friend from college. He's a runner. And when we turned 55, I said, hey, let's go give it the old college try.
Did you go to Tokyo?
Well, we went to New York.
Okay, but
Just hold your horses,
okay,
cowboy.
All right,
we'll get there.
All right.
And so
Stay tuned.
Let's give it the old college try. Let's go run New York. So we go to New York. New York's in November. Tokyo's in February. It's like, okay, if I'm going to get New York done, then we'll do Tokyo in February. So I did Tokyo after that. And so I got my 6 major marathons of the world.
That's so cool.
It was.
What's your best
list.
time?
I finished same day we started. They didn't use a stopwatch; they used a calendar.
Okay, all right. Well, that's impressive. That goes back to the not quit.
Yeah, for sure.
Because at a certain point, once you get past about mile 10, the next, as long as you just continue to go,
one step at a time.
Yeah.
But I had let myself go. And I'm no physical specimen today, but I was even worse back then. And when I made a commitment to do this, I mean, Chris, honest to goodness, I couldn't run a quarter of a mile.
Were you an athlete in high school?
Well, I participated in sports. To say that I'm an athlete might be a stretch.
Okay.
And there's people in the community that could give a valid opposing point of view, but I was on several of the athletic teams.
Tell your story. This is your story.
That's right. But I did enjoy athletics in high school.
Okay, all right.
One of the fortunate things about being in Lamar is you could participate in sports even if you weren't any good because we're such a small school.
And your wife, does she run with you?
She actually is probably the reason I got into running because she's been consistent in running, and her and a friend ran a half marathon, and I watched them train together and the fun they had, and then going and running the half marathon. And so after that, I thought, that was actually the motivation for me to, okay, let's go do this. Well, again, I'm a bucket list kind of guy. like setting goals. And so my wife and her friend and myself and two friends from where we worship, we all went to Chicago together, and we ran the Chicago Marathon, all 5 of us.
Wow.
That was a treat.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
We used to shoe horses for the Ministry of Tourism in the Bahamas. And so they have all those horses there at Festival Place. They're called Surrey horses. They pull the carriage. And so Kelly and I used to run a lot together. And they have a half marathon and marathon in the Bahamas. And you run along the beach. And, everything's flat except for the one mountain where you climb the bridge into Atlantis. So our daughter, her and her friend, her college friend, said, hey, you get a week in sandals if you like. You just got to run a half marathon with us. And so those 2 girls did it, and it killed them. I don't think they enjoyed it, but they both have ran a half marathon as a result of that.
So one other fun thing as it related to that, I ran a marathon in Berlin one weekend, and I ran another marathon here in the United States the next weekend.
Man.
With a low enough IQ, Chris, a guy will try anything.
Did you have a lot of chafing under your arms, or so you're able to avoid any
God
injuries?
has blessed me with a body that has responded pretty well to that kind of thing.
Do you do fitness now? Do you have a workout regimen?
I don't, not currently. I have, but I'm not currently doing that.
Okay. Well, you look the same as you've looked in, for a long time. So
Since I started running.
Well, I don't remember you being big. Did you get
have
big?
a bad memory then?
Yeah, I'm not very observant about that. I guess.
One day I woke up and I weighed 199 pounds, which may not sound like much to you, but for a guy that's 5'5", that's too much. And now I'm at like 153 or 4. So
Wow, 40 pounds.
Yeah.
And no Ozempic. That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it had been invented yet when I got on this regiment.
Right. Very good. Do you have any inspirational sayings? I always ask my guests, do they have one?
One that comes out of the Bible that I like, that's kind of odd, that I really like, is where there are no oxen, the manger is clean, but with oxen come much increase. And so for me, that means, when we're out doing, things might look messy. But if you're not doing, then things can look pretty clean. So don't be afraid to make a mess.
Well,
I would think that would serve well in
Well,
your line of
sure.
work.
Yeah. You cannot shoe a horse without making a little bit of a mess.
Yeah,
Yeah. So where is that in the Bible?
that's in Proverbs.
Is there anything you would like to visit about we haven't talked about?
No, I had no idea what we were going to talk about when we got here. So
Well, I really want to talk about pilotage because you're such a wealth of knowledge there, and I think I'm either 800 to 900 hours. So I've flown enough for my 6 years, but how many hours
That's
are
pretty
you?
good.
Do you have any idea?
yeah, I'm getting close to 4,000,
Oh wow.
which for as long as I've been flying is not that many.
Well,
But, man, I sure do enjoy it. I tell our team members, I said, y'all better hope I fly a lot because I'm in a better mood when I fly. And if I go long periods of time without flying, I might just come in and fire you.
well, I hope you continue to fly.
I do too.
Sir, you spent a whole hour with me. I don't know if you know it's been that long.
I did not.
But it's flown for me.
Likewise.
No pun intended.
For sure.
Is there anything you'd like to say we haven't talked about?
Not that I can think of.
All right. Well, sir, thank you so much. I appreciate you very much.
You are welcome.
sitting
Thank
down
you
with
for
me,
the
sir.
invite. This has been fun.